Join the conversation as we delve into the state of our world under Trump's presidency. From politics to economy, and from the environment to social justice, we're exploring the impact of Trump's rule on our global community. With controversies and scandals dominating the headlines, it's time to take a closer look at the changes happening around us. What are the consequences of Trump's decisions, and how are they shaping our future? Tune in to find out. Is the world irrevocably changed? The Trump administration's policies sent shockwaves across the globe, leaving a complex legacy that continues to shape international relations. Let's dissect the key areas where his America First approach has left its mark. Donald Trump's presidency was defined by a starkly nationalistic agenda. America First became the mantra, prioritizing domestic interests above international cooperation. This approach, characterized by protectionism and unilateralism, fundamentally reshaped the global landscape. The focus on national interests, while appealing to some, triggered a wave of uncertainty. Traditional alliances were questioned, and established international norms were challenged. The world watched as the United States charted a new, often unpredictable course. One of the most visible impacts of Trump's policies was in the realm of international trade. He aggressively imposed tariffs on goods from China, Mexico, and the European Union. These tariffs were intended to protect American industries and jobs. However, these actions sparked immediate retaliatory measures from affected countries. This tit-for-tat escalation led to what many economists termed a global trade war. The consequences were far-reaching and complex. While proponents argued that tariffs would revitalize American manufacturing, critics pointed to rising costs for consumers and businesses. The increased cost of imported goods ultimately impacted the wallets of everyday Americans. The potential for long-term economic instability loomed large. Trump's administration also made headlines by withdrawing from several key international agreements. The Trans-Pacific Partnership, TPP, and the Paris Agreement on Climate Change were among the most prominent. These decisions signaled a shift away from multilateralism. Supporters of these withdrawals argued that they allowed the United States to focus on its own sovereignty. They also contended that these agreements were unfair to American interests. This resonated with a segment of the population that felt globalization had left them behind. However, critics argued that these withdrawals weakened global cooperation on critical issues. Abandoning the Paris Agreement, in particular, was seen as undermining progress on combating climate change. The long-term consequences of these decisions are still unfolding. Trump's foreign policy marked a significant departure from traditional approaches. He favored a more transactional approach, often questioning the value of long-standing alliances. This shift rattled many of America's closest partners. He frequently criticized NATO allies for not spending enough on defense. This put a strain on relationships that had been cornerstones of international security for decades. The message was clear. America expected more from its allies. The withdrawal from the Iran nuclear deal and the imposition of sanctions on Russia and Venezuela further complicated the global landscape. These actions, while intended to address specific security concerns, created new tensions with both allies and adversaries. The America First policy was perceived by many as a rejection of global leadership. Some viewed it as a return to isolationism, a retreat from the world stage. This perception had a tangible impact on America's global standing. Polls showed a decline in favorability ratings for the United States in many countries. The perception of America as a reliable partner diminished. In some regions, anti-American sentiment rose. The long-term consequences of this shift in global perception remain to be seen. However, it is clear that Trump's policies have had a significant impact on how the world views the United States. The question is whether this damage is repairable. The impact of Trump's policies is multifaceted and complex. there is an ongoing debate about whether they ultimately strengthened America or weakened international cooperation. The truth likely lies somewhere in between. Some argue that his policies revitalized the American economy and protected American workers. Others contend that they damaged international relations and undermined global stability. Both sides have valid points. Regardless of one's perspective, it is undeniable that Trump's presidency left a lasting mark on the world. The long-term consequences of his policies will continue to be debated and analyzed for years to come. The world has changed, and the challenge now is to navigate the new landscape he helped create. The Trump era has undeniably reshaped the global order, leaving behind a complex web of consequences that demand careful consideration. Now, it's your turn to engage. Research the specific impacts of these policies on your region. Share your insights in the comments below, and most importantly, contact your elected officials to advocate for policies that promote a more stable and cooperative world. Let's work together to build a future where American interests are balanced with global responsibility.